the same time, there's a side that also haven't lost for 11 weeks and are sitting on top of the ladder, and they just might be a side this year that might have too much for the whole competition, and this suggests why. This doesn't happen too often, boys, and I want you to simplify it. Number one for scoring chains in the comp, and number one for defending it. And people might go, well, OK, what does that mean? It's only been done twice in 20 years that a team has been number one. One of those times, Geelong won a grand final by 119 points. Yeah. It's a pretty good pointer.
They know all about
it's a great pointer.
They actually look at it. You're right about the... they just look perfect in every part of the game, don't they? It's just it looked like it's hard to punch holes in them. When you compare them against Collingwood, and you think you can argue Melbourne should have been 6 goals up at half time. They weren't, and Collingwood were good enough to get back into it. But we haven't really seen many holes in the Cats game. They've won 11 in a row as well.
That tells you everything you need to know right there.
It's the sort of stat that we could be looking back in 7 weeks' time thinking it was right in front of our face. In terms of how obvious it was that Geelong were going to go on. Now, we know it doesn't always play out like that. Richmond in 2019... 2018 were a classic example of a side that we all thought they're just going to march their way through, but they don't have a hole in their game at the moment.
So philosophically, then I reckon that is really significant. So you've got a kid that's playing in their back group that is part of this, being the hardest team in the comp to score against, who's week after week on the back of one game last year playing. So whoever they play, you go to King, you go to Dixon, you go to whoever it is, and then you've got this phenom in Nick Dacos, who's playing halfback, who, is having a season there. We sit there and go, how do you measure that up? And I'm not even talking about NAB Rising Star. That'll sort itself out, and whoever's the winner will be worthy, and whoever's the runner-up's going to have a career for the ages. But how do you compare those two roles?
Well, we're always going to be supporting key position players. I will say something about Dacos. He's done more than be a half-backer. He's gone and played on the wing, been injected in the midfield late in games, and has helped Collingwood turn that around. But
no one's talking him down.
Absolutely. So what Sam did, and we all think... Well, I think get Dacos to win the Rising Star. However, what De Koning has been able to do to play on those top forwards in the elite key forwards in the competition has been sensational. And to be given that task week in, week out, that's an enormous confidence boost from Chris Scott. They've had some injuries back there as well. But his ability to read the football, still have an impact aerially and still shut down his opponent has been the most impressive for me. I've done a few live games of Geelong and you actually watch his composure, his ability to keep his eye on the football and his opponent is remarkable. When you think young defenders, they're so worried about their man.
So in answer to your question, Gary, how do you whack them up against each other? I think the only way you could answer it is if you would go and recruit a player that you knew could go to the opposition's best key forward and shut him down every week and intercept, or a player playing that half-back role that's the architect for the team, or who could be the team's best midfielder. What do you choose?
Well, I think,
what do you choose? I mean, we are, as football pundits, we are the spoilt ones this year, and we get to watch these two kids roll around. It's awesome. And the fact that we're going to have a Rising Star winner, one of these two boys, from the top two teams at the moment is so much better than, I think, someone racking up 30 in a bottom side. So it's been a great spectacle.
Is Dacos, though, do we think he's probably a generational talent? Yeah. Whereas I think we've seen so many good young key position players come through of late. Maybe De Koning's getting lost in the mix a little bit.
Well, just for everyone's sake, he's 204 centimetres. There's a kid that debuted on the weekend for the Western Bulldogs, who's 208
Looked handy,
and growing as a key back. What's the world coming to here? And that's one end of the ground. The other end of the ground is this forward stuff, is the way that A, you move the footy, and then B, what you do when you got the footy and you're going inside. This team is the best in the comp at it, I reckon. And they're just...
Why?
It's a combination of they've got forwards who are smart, who know where to lead. I think when you got Hawkins and Cameron, they demand that the people with the footy get value. Like if you're not kicking at the right spot, or if you're not moving in the right spot, or the kick's not right, they're not going to blast you. But there's an accountability and a responsibility to get value for your possession.
You saw that last week, Gaz, when Tom Hawkins ran the length of the field to give feedback to Tom Stewart.
Yeah.
I think that was about the way the ball was moving and some of the delivery. But you love, especially when there's two big key forwards who are on the same page and they run to different spots, Rui.
That kick from Menegola there was special. What was the same about both of those plays was they brought the ball inside. So if you want to go straight back down the line and blast the football, well, then you're going to go back into density. And that's I think, an issue, Gary, and you've been on this for a long time, that Melbourne are having is it's a weight of numbers for them. So Geelong win it, they come inside, there's a bit of nuance. Melbourne, there isn't too much nuance in the way they move the footy.
Good point, and there's an anomaly in there as well, because Collingwood haven't, that may be a little...
That might be the little
going
chink.
forward, it might be a bit of a chink, and the Dockers as well, but...